So this week's episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was an absolute treat, completely wild. For an anime only, I'm just like, I can't wait to see where next week is going to go after all the craziness that just occurred with this week's episode. This was a fantastic episode, and something that kind of happened in this episode, it really reminds me of what happened to Joseph when he was in his old age back in the previous part. Because, when you follow a character for long enough, it hurts to see them at the end stages of their life, as it hurts to see anyone in the end stages of their life. And it feels as if Bruno in some ways is being taken far too soon, but at the same time, if he had to go out, this is how he would want to, for the cause and for his goal. And to see just all of his parts shut down, because he is a corpse, but up to this point, his sight, his hearing, his voice, it's all been there. So even though he was technically dead, he still felt alive in his own way. And watching just Doppio just kind of carry him across the street, he's not all there anymore. The remainder of his hearing was pretty much blown out in the previous fight. His eyesight's basically gone. Everything that kind of made him still alive and kicking in our point of view is essentially gone. And it really hurts to see a character like that who is still walking, and it feels like he needs to rest, but he keeps pushing forward, and basically the only thing he has left is he can see the souls of things. That's basically his vision, and it's a pretty interesting way to kind of throw off the leader of a gang is by kind of swapping around and making it look like the boss is actually there, because his soul connects with Trish, which is the whole kind of driving force of how they kind of connect with one another and pretty much can locate each other if they're in the same area, which is the driving factor for a father wanting to kill his daughter, because if you can sense the souls of your connected living members, that's not good for someone who's keeping his identity a complete and utter secret. And just watching a sequence of just two people crossing a road, that was some of the most intense scenery that we've seen in this part of JoJo, because he shouldn't trust him, but at the same time, even if he did know it was Doppio, how else was he gonna get across that street? He wasn't gonna make it himself. He was gonna get hit by a damn car, and if we had another character die by a car, that would just be too much in the span of a couple of episodes. So I just like watching that sequence play out, because for a good chunk of it, it really seemed like Bruno was going to clue in, and if he did clue into who that truly was, Bruno would have been dead right then and there, and we would have had no more Bucciarati. So it was nice to see just how that kind of sequence played out. The craziness, the absurdity, the ring, ring, ring. That's always cracks me up, but it was actually a pretty clever way to throw Bruno off, and to just see where that eventually leads us to the Coliseum with Polnareff. Holy shit, I can't even express how much I've missed this guy. I love his character in Stardust Crusaders, but there's something about the more cold and just logical version that we see here. He's definitely a changed man. He's not as positive as he once was, and I'm glad we got to see the backstory of what ultimately led him to be like this, how he got wounded, and it's interesting to see how the Part 3 story connects with the Part 5, with the whole idea that we have the boss who is digging up the arrows, and, obviously, if you follow Part 3, these characters, if they hear something to that nature, they're not going to be okay with a man uncovering arrows, because that would basically be world domination in the wrong hands. So it's interesting how they kind of split up, and as the boss was building his organization, planning people essentially across the entire globe, basically building up an empire of just total annihilation and corruption, it's interesting how Polnareff got kind of roped into this and how brutal that was. For the boss, making a mistake is something that he would never do. That's his viewpoint, that he will make sure that if he has to come and do the dirty work, he'll make sure someone's dead. So the fact that Polnareff was actually able to survive after losing an eye, losing his limbs, and was actually able to recover, that speaks magnitude to just how fate kind of connects these two, but also how big of a mistake this man actually made, especially with all the precautions we've seen him make up to this point. That's actually insane to think about. I'm really glad that we got the backstory in this episode, because it's so important to see how these characters connect. It's cool to reintroduce a character, but you gotta make sure it logically makes sense for that character to return in this part. And having Stardust Crusaders, which was the introduction to Stans, seeing how they would kind of try to track down the person behind the arrows, it makes total sense why they would kind of go out of their way to find the mystery man. And unfortunately, when you find the mystery man, he has a power that is just so ridiculous that there's nothing you can really do. It's pretty interesting to see just how a man who used to be so cheerful has been broken down and become such a mechanical just device, but has his goal and has studied these arrows, and he does something I don't even know what the hell we witnessed. Some sort of stand upgrade, it looks like, because Silver Cherry just got the hell out of there, or attempted to, before he lost his life. And I have to say, just seeing the boss finally take form. Seeing him in his full character design, he's menacing. Not only do I think his character design is one of the best we've seen this season, I think there's just something so badass by the way he looks and just how he radiates authority. Like, if you see him in this form, you know shit's about to go wild, and he's gonna make damn sure that you're dead and not alive and kicking anymore. And I like how it's so confusing, not only just for the viewer, but also for this character being like, how the hell did this boy just become this man? This shouldn't happen. And I like how it is probably one of the worst reunions you could imagine, because if you think you've killed this man already, you are the most secretive bastard in this world who makes sure his identity is always kept a secret, and you see him still alive and kicking, that's going to piss you off beyond reason, and that makes for a very dangerous opponent, especially for one whose entire purpose is keeping himself a secret. And just see the cleverness to how opponent actually avoids getting killed right then and there, with the idea of cutting himself so the blood would be a way to predict the skipping of time. He nearly kills the boss. Like, he almost gets a really fatal blow, and if it wasn't for the boss being pretty damn precautious, he probably would have ended up dead. We see his arm get slashed pretty well, and that's what's exciting about this part of JoJo, is how even when they reintroduce old characters, it feels like the experience isn't being wasted. Like, when you reintroduce someone from a couple parts back, it feels as if they've had years of experience. They've mastered their craft, and they feel like they've experienced a lot. Just seeing his entire precaution of saying, like, who the hell is that with you? I know you, Bruno. I know your gang. This person isn't here. And the idea of, you know, it's Trish. It's like, doesn't look like Trish. Are you judging my gender? To then just saying, okay, if you're saying this, I'll trust you, but show me your stand. This is someone who's not an idiot. He recognizes that I need to have all the data before I trust you. Show me your stand. This is a man who just radiates knowledge. He knows what he is doing, and he's betting his entire life on delivering this arrow and whatever the secrets it holds. The way the episode ends is like, what in the actual hell did we just witness? And that's how you know JoJo is at its best right now. It's just delivering blow after blow after blow, reintroducing old characters, showcasing new ones in just a very horrible and painful light, and just seeing like a boss who just radiates authority and power, who is so badass. On one hand you want to cut off his head, but on the other you're like, this guy is just such a great character. It's kind of a love-hate relationship, and that's why I love this part of JoJo. It's just how it radiates authority, not even just from the boss, just the way they're presenting this story overall. It feels like it knows what it's doing. It's confident. It's full of just confidence, and I love that. It feels like this is the best of JoJo, and just how it has some of the older aspects that I've known and loved from the original parts. You know, the floating text, it just feels like, you know, it's that classic shonen that you know and love, but there's so many new and interesting styles that they'll use to just really say, like, this is a new and improved JoJo, the best of the best, and you just are dying to see the next episode. And I just love how just the way they detail the smaller details, such as the skipping of time, it feels disorienting alongside the characters. They recognize something has changed, and they'll just do this quick kind of shaky effect to show that something bad is happening. Like, this is the final battle. Everything is going down here, and I don't know how they actually want to end this. You know, characters like Bruno probably aren't getting out of this. I mean, he's dead. I don't think there's a way to save him at this point in time, but there's so many still alive that could end up dead, and just where this is all going to go. I still think Giorno is going to be the one to kind of unlock whatever the Arrow's power is. It just feels like he's kind of the next in line to inherit the power, the throne, because once Bruno's gone, it feels like Giorno would be kind of next in line. He's always been the unofficial boss in a lot of ways, so it'll be interesting to see where David Production and just Araki actually were kind of building up to all along here with this part of Golden Wind. But it was just so, like, on one hand I'm thinking, wow, I don't actually know what they're building up to right now, but I know it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. But on the other hand, I'm just like, everything that I can pick up on with the knowledge we currently have from past and now present, it feels like it's just so well thought out and executed, and I just love how dangerous this episode felt. This was a dangerous episode with a big gamble that literally cost one of our all-stars' lives, and it's just, holy shit, where can it go from here? 6 episodes left, and it feels like this is one of the most intense endgames, I think, in quite some time. And I mean, this is just a story that just holds the test of time. It feels like it's such a modern story for actually being so damn old when you really break down what's been happening all along. JoJo is one of the few series that can blend comedic and just absolute horror in the same sentence, having characters like Doppio be able to talk to a phone that's not actually connected so he can talk to the boss, and in a matter of just a few words can have you laughing to shitting your pants, to how they can just blend the voice acting of the innocent Doppio kind of being like, you know, playing the part of not knowing what's going on, to then being absolutely terrifying, to then seeing the boss just, holy shit, this man radiates power. This is what's so great. Like, this is one of those anime that I don't understand how you could even watch a dub if this part gets a dub. Like, the voice actors are giving it their all. This is an all-star cast, and this is just such impressive acting. The small fluctuations that really give it that level of detail you need for such insane, powerful, and bizarre personalities, JoJo is literally at its best right now. This is like the perfect endgame to me. I can't even predict exactly where it wants to go, but it feels so goddamn elegant. It feels like it knows exactly what it's doing. And even for all the absurdity that we are seeing with souls and all that other stuff, it feels like it fits right at home in this universe of JoJo, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from left field. It feels like it's in universe for this story, and that's really exciting. A lot of series, when they try to go more and more bizarre, you kind of think, okay, did they jump the shark? Did they do something they shouldn't? JoJo, no, it knows what it's doing. Even if we can't fully understand what it's doing right at the moment that it's introduced, it still feels like it's building up to something that ultimately makes sense, and that's how you know JoJo is at its best. I just love how this looks. I love how it sounds. I love how it radiates authority. This is just such a great adaptation. It really, really is. It is just so great, and I just hope that this same level of quality will carry through for the remainder of these episodes and just future seasons of JoJo. But for manga readers, what did you think of just this bizarre, insane, and intense episode? Did you love the adaptation for anime originals like myself? What did you think? Did you enjoy it as much as me? Where do you think for theories, speculation, things like that? Where is it gonna go? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you have been new. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.